Hello, welcome to my stream. So today I'm going to be finishing off this painting, which is a water buffalo. I've spent probably about 3 hours on it so far, and to be honest, most of all what I need to do is around the ear, the face, the ear. Might do the background. I quite like the background, maybe add a bit more detail around here, a bit more detail around the leaves here. But in general, yeah, that's my plan. So, let's get going. So as I say, I'm going to start off with sort of detail around the face. In fact, I'm going to zoom in on the reference image, just so that we can see exactly what I'm going to do here. You see it's a bit, well, there's a lot of detail in terms of the fur around here and the eyelids. I'll work on the eyes. The nose is a bit more flat with a nice bit of detail. It's mainly two tones. Then I'll do the nose. So, let's get the paint on the palette. So there's definitely some yellow ochre here. There's quite a lot of white as well. Got the yellow ochre down. A fair bit of paint spray. I'll just go through and do some detailing, one colour by colour. I'll start off dark and then work up to light. What I tend to do. Just getting the plug out of the paint spray. I won't put any whites in there, well actually I will, because I might mix some paint spray. I get my burnt umber as well. That's the main colours I want to use today. So I'm going to start off with a fairly small brush. This is a number 0. I think that'll do. I'll grab I'm looking for maybe a 3-0. It's a 5-0. That's a 3-0. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on the dark areas first, around here and here, and then I'll do sort of strands of hair, and then I'll go on to the lighter colours. So I guess I'll start off with the top of the head. A bit of finger painting in there just to make sure it's all there. So I'm hoping to finish this painting today. Not, I'll just do a short session to finish the background, I guess. But I'll certainly finish the actual buffalo today, I would have thought. I'm not going super accurate today, I'm just going with a sort of general perception. Bit of artistic flair, I guess, around the fur. Thanks, Izzy. Thank you for liking my pictures. So adding this Payne's grey up here, I think is going to really sort of, already you can see the contrast compared to what it was. It's a nice sort of texture just by adding that sort of dark shading there. As always, I'm not going for super realistic, I'm just sort of going for something that looks nice in the eye. Doing this right hand eye at the moment. Just getting those wrinkles in. Sorry about that, that's noisy. I'll do a lot more detail on the eye later, but I'm just getting the sort of Payne's grey, the really dark bits down. This is a bit of an interesting sort of shape here. We'll put the Payne's grey down there. It's going to calm down like that, I think. Got that. It's actually quite dark over here, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to quite layer on the paint here a little bit to make it a lot darker, and then use the other colours to lighten it up later on. I might actually get my scratchy brush out. Layering up the hairs here, and I'll soften it all a bit later with the other colours over the top. So I quite like painting pure, I guess, colour onto the painting. I quite often don't mix colours until sort of very last minute type thing. Just my style sort of does that. Use my finger to blend in that line that I just drew a little bit better. Put a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. Just been told there's no sound. Everything looks okay my end in terms of microphones and music. Well, apparently the sound's back. Thank you for letting me know. So as I say, I'm just doing the Payne's Grey on the face, getting the cheeks, getting all the definition, then I'll work later. I'll get a little bit later. I'm going to get my scratchy brush out. I don't know what there's a really an official name for what it's called. It's very defined bit here. I don't know if that's like part of the ear or not. I guess it probably is, to be honest. Let's get my scratchy brush out. Basically, this is a brush I forgot to clean, and what I do with it, I sort of scratch over it, and it creates a relatively good texture. I don't know if you can hear in the microphone that it like sounds scratchy when I do it. That's why I call it the scratchy brush. So it kind of fills in areas, but with a nice sort of texture. But perhaps this one is a bit too hard. I do have another one which is slightly softer. Create some definition. There's a line that sort of goes down here, and then back towards the nose. Similar to the other side, I guess. Sort of fades out over the other side. I need to sort this out anyway. This is my slightly softer scratchy brush. Just going to go down here and sort of scratch it on. Covering quite a lot of ground doing this method. It's not sort of fully going in. In fact, I quite like that so much, I'm just going to go back over what I've done using a similar technique. It looks a little more natural, like hair, I guess. As I say, I'll come in to do the eyes. Probably last, to be honest. Well, nose and eyes I like to do, because they're the focal points, I'll probably do right at the end. Hey, you can see how much that sort of scratching over the surface with this colour has really helped. Now I'm going to move on to a slightly lighter colour, and well, it's burnt umber. And I'm going to mix it with some Payne's Grey. I'm going to go up the colours slowly and slowly. So I'm just going to go over the top of this. Okay, that's still basically the same colour. So you probably might not be able to tell. You will be able to tell when it dries, but it's a slightly lighter colour than what is there before. Sort of going to try and gradient it out a little bit. Some water on the palette. I need to detail this bit as well. It's looking a bit weird. So is this one, to be fair. So I'll do that shortly. So I've gone a little bit lighter now with brown. Just adding up the layers slowly on top of the black. I've gone pretty much pure burnt umber now. I'm just scratching it on where I think it's going to suit. I'm not necessarily following the reference image exactly, because otherwise, what's the point in painting? Just might as well take a photograph. But I am keeping a vague eye out on what it looks like. Like here, there's definitely a bit more browny there. There was. And here as well, on the other side. And that'll need a little bit more detail later on. When I come to do the eye, I'm sure I'll sort all that out. Quite a lot of lighter brown colours around there. I'm going to go even lighter again. This time I'm going to go to yellow ochre. That might be one step a little bit too far, but let's see what it looks like. I'll step back and see if I actually like the yellow ochre. It looks alright. Might get some grey on there in a bit. I'm not going to go straight to white. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix yellow ochre with white. That'll be the next colour I do. I'll try and use it sparingly and then sort of rub in the bits where I've gone a bit too much. Just sort of taking a look at you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to sort of use it quite sparingly, but for nice little highlight of hairs. Sometimes I go a bit heavy on it, but that's fine. We can have little highlights like that. I'm just rubbing it in and blending it in with my finger. Certain bits I want to highlight, like just above the eyebrow as well. There is a subtle highlight in the actual image. I'm exaggerating a little bit just by using this yellow ochre. And above the eyeball as well, so that'll help the eye pop a little bit later on. I'm just adding this texture using yellow ochre, which isn't really predominant in the image, it's just quite a nice way of doing that. And then up here there's a little bit more. Blend that in, a bit of highlighting down there, and down here is quite bright as well, so I'm just going to bring that down there, like it's got tear ducts down here. I'm going to step back a bit. Yeah, I quite like the way that's worked. It's going to really pop with the when I do the eyes though. Just going to get a smaller brush and do a little bit more detail, especially around places like this. Just spread that in. Probably even smaller brushes than this, to be honest. So I get my 03 or 30, sorry. 3 zeros, I think it is. Just do the odd hair here and there, just to get it to pop a little bit. Watching my studio, I can't really step back and have a look at what I'm doing. It's a bit close, so I'm having to look at the sort of computer screen just to see what it looks like. That's a bit small, to be honest. I'm just sort of going with how it feels. Oh, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I'm back and I'm gonna start painting. It's very hot in here, so maybe everything overheated. I need to sort that out because it just happened quite a lot, to be honest. Anyway, I'm going to sort out this bit, which obviously I completely forgot when I was doing the rest of it. So I'm using my finger to blend this in because I don't want it quite as dark. I want there to be a clear sort of line between the face and the back of this ear. I could use a scratching brush, to be honest. It might work a little bit better for this aspect. So I'll do that. That's a bit wet. So I'm just scratching on the texture on this side of the ear. I really am just scratching it on, so. So I think that works quite well. I think it needs to be a bit lighter up there, but I can deal with that in a sec. And while I'm at it, I might as well just do the other ear. You can see I'm just scratching the dark colour back on over here, just very faintly, so I get some texture, and then I can always go over and do the same technique with the light one until we built up and look like what's essentially looks like a hairy ear. There's quite a nice bright bit of orangey colour there and over here as well, so I might actually get the orange out and just sort of show that. But already you can see the face is looking a lot nicer. I'm going to get the scratchy. Just going to gently go over some of the lighter bits with this Payne's Grey again, just to blend it in. So I'm just building up the layers and layers. So now I think I'm ready to pretty much go on to white. So I'm going to mix white with what's already on my brush, turn it into a sort of grey colour, make that a little bit looser in the water. And what I'm going to do is just very lightly go over here, and then with a paper towel just sort of rub it in. This bit here is pretty white. I'm just going to rub it in to dull it down. And you've got white bits here. There's a couple of nice highlights there that I wanted to just bring down. So even though this is quite a big brush, you can get quite a small strand effect with this. So apart from the eyes, I think this is very almost done. There's a bit of a highlight down the ridge of the nose. Oops. I messed that up there. Not to worry, I'll just go back and repeat what I just did. Get the Payne's grey, go over the top. Probably need to wait for it to dry, to be fair. And I'll get the yellow ochre. Might need to come back to that bit and just wait for it to dry. So there's a really bright orangey bit there, and this bit here is quite orangey. Need some definition in this line actually. So that goes like that. Around there. And down here. I'm going to get a sort of orangey brown out, and I'm going to use a, don't know what I'm going to use. I might just use a burnt sienna actually. Slightly lighter than burnt umber. I might mix it with a tad of vermilion. I'm going to wash this brush. Oh, not that brush. Wash this brush. Looks like I've already done that. Mix them together. I'm just going to grab about here. And you're going to have a pop of orange. So I'm not worried. I know this looks all a bit weird at the moment. I'm not that worried at the moment because as soon as I do the eyes, it's just going to come alive, the whole painting. Get the oranges in. Tiny bit of orange down there. That's quite orangey. A little bit of orange around here as well. Right, so I'm happy with that so far. I'm now going to move on to the eyes. So I'll start off with the left eye. Just zoom in a little bit. So, the first thing I always do with eyes is paint. I do the white bit last, basically. So I'll paint the actual shape of the eye. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the eyelid. Comes out like this. And comes around like that. And actually comes more down like this. I'll just fill in the gap, so I'll do the white bit afterwards. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, doesn't really matter what colour it is, and just do that. I'm going to blend it in. What I'll get there is a nice sort of eyelid. Again, it doesn't matter what colour you use. Ultimately, your eye's going to... The great thing with painting anything is it doesn't really matter what colour you use because your brain will fill in the gaps. As long as it's roughly in the right area. And ultimately, whoever's going to look at the painting doesn't actually know what the reference image looked like, even if there was a reference image. Right, now painting on the highlight on the eye. I don't know if you can see that's come alive a little bit there. I'll put some yellow ochre on the eyelid. Get a bit more definition on the shape up here. I'm not totally following the... I will put a bit of blue in there like I do with most eyes, just to show, sort of like look as though it's reflecting the sky. I'll just grab a blue. I'm going to go with sky blue. Over that a little bit. Make the highlight a little bit more bluey. I might just fade out the eye a little bit more. I'm trying to make it stick out a little bit more than the picture, because I think it's really important for the eye to stick out, to be a real focal point of the painting. I'm struggling a little bit, if I'm honest. Let me know what you think. So I was just not going to play. I'm wondering if I put pure black on, so I'll go Mars black out. Just put a touch of Mars black straight on the eyeball. So it might set the... if I do it right at the bottom here, it might set the rest of it up. Mars black's quite a brown colour by the look of it. The most important part of the painting is the eye, that's why I spend so long doing it. I quite like that. Look like on the stream. I think it looks alright on the stream as well. A couple of wrinkles down here. I'll rub them in. I'll do the same with the ear here. So yeah, this has taken a little bit longer than I thought it would, to be honest. I thought it'd be pretty much done by now. But there's a lot more detail I think I need to grab in certain areas. So what I'll do is I think I'll finish off with just the eye, and then at the weekend I'll do one more session, focus on the nose, and then possibly do the background, do a bit more texture and stuff around there. And yeah, I think this will be a very good painting. I'm also quite tired, so I don't want to spoil the painting by going too far, sort of thing. So the other eye looks a little bit easier, although I've got the shape completely wrong by the look of it. So first things first, I'm going to sort that shape. I'm just going to use this colour here because I might as well. Just grab... Actually, the shape isn't that wrong. How does that look, even though I've hardly done anything? I think it looks alright there already. The blue tint on now. Get a bit of yellow ochre there. Well, that doesn't really exist, but I'm trying to. Trying to highlight the eye. This one's a little bit more difficult than the other one because it's more in the shade, I think. I'm trying to do certain highlights here. I think what I need to do is a bit like what I did with the other one. So go like here and then go. Whoa. even though that's not remotely what it looks like in the photo. Just thinking about what it's going to look like. Oh, apparently there's a blue eye now. Get the Mars black. Get the pure white out and bang a dot to just about there. Bring it around there. I think that eye's pretty good, to be honest. They both are. Add a bit more definition around the eye. So the reason I spend so much time on the eyes is because it's the focal point. Our brains naturally will go towards the eyes. So you really have to focus on the eyes. If you get the eyes wrong, there's no point in presenting the painting to anyone. Because even though the rest of the painting must be amazing, if people can't focus on the eyes, then they'll struggle to relate to the painting. Got a bit of a highlight there while that's it. So yeah, I think that's all I want to do today. I'll do the nose and the mouth tomorrow, and then the background, not tomorrow, sometime at the weekend. I'll probably put a bit more texture, possibly in the body. That won't take very long. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the eyes have gone. I think. Maybe I'll come back to them if I've changed my mind. But yeah, so that was a shorter stream tonight. I'm a bit tired. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate that. Sorry, I was going to put a much brighter line there and a line there to border the eye. It's going to do the same here. Cool. All right. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on probably Sunday. I think I'll do it. Sunday or Monday. Once I've sort of settled down, I'll do a more regular streaming schedule. So thanks very much for watching. Appreciate that. I hope you have a good evening.